The Gray Name Archives.
Being gay is a sin, though? Yeah, dude, totally. So is fucking mixing fabrics, okay? I don't see your ass at Forever 21 petitioning them to take that shit down. I don't see your ass at fucking Red Lobster chirping about shellfish. My dick. What is this? What kind of fucking argument is this? It's a sin. What the fuck's a sin, dumbass? You can believe whatever the fuck you want to believe as long as it is not hurting other people, as long as you are not like forcing others to abide by your standards. The moment that you cross that boundary, you are not welcome here. Don't make me fucking turn into a Reddit atheist over here. It is a sin, though. I don't give a shit. Suck my fucking dick, okay? Oh, it's a sin. I don't care. That's not an argument, okay? You believe that. Not everyone does. Dumbass, cultist, peasant-brained moron. Oh, it's a sin. You're doing it. You're turning me into a fucking Reddit atheist. Don't do it. It's not for you. People make content that's not for you at all. Like I said, the standard is it hurting anyone? And if you think it is, please explain why you think it's hurting somebody. Go ahead. You have the podium. Oh, man, I hate it when men make gay porn and then I find myself on OnlyFans browsing through the gay porn section and then I just take my wallet out on accident and I input my credit card information and then I just unbuckle my pants, unzip my zipper, and I just start dropping hot fucking loads to the gay porn. I hate when that happens. Why did the society make me masturbate to gay porn? Writing some shit like this in a Twitch chat, let me tell you what alpha dogs do. That's what they do. Men who speak about alpha shit are low tier as well. What about men who speak about being low tier, which is just a reframing of alpha shit? That's why I brought it up, to make fun of you. I promote family values. I will smoke you on Twitch. Promoting family values. I promote family values. That's why we shouldn't be understanding of those who are gay and have done sex work. They should actually be devoid of a family. They should be devoid of a support structure. That's how I do family values, baby. You should kiss yourself if you've done gay porn. That's my family values. There you go. That's my take for you, promoting family values. So I don't see the solution here, because if he drops out, it's near guaranteed Trump wins. Why? Why is that it's near guaranteed Trump wins if he drops out? Every single person that is committed to voting for Joe Biden right now is going to vote for whoever the is the Democratic Party candidate. The idea that like there are Brandon or busters in the Democratic Party is the most laughable notion I have ever even encountered. The Democratic Party's platform is seen as broadly popular, significantly more popular than the Republican Party's platform. What are you basing this shit on? What do you mean? What do you mean? What am I basing this shit on? Is this the Brandon or buster? Polls, man. Polls. When I said I want hogs, I want Trump hogs so I can make fun of them. Not the Democratic Party's own version of the same hogs. It's literally the same shit except they're gay. America already gives money to Ukraine, but America's technically making profits from the taxes it's investing into the war, right? Wait, what? Yeah, you just gave yet another reason as to why America's motivation in this situation is not good. Like Russia is committing war crimes to the money that American weapons manufacturers make from weapons and components. Stop complaining about your taxes going to the wrong places. Bro, there is 0% chance this chatter actually is in here in good faith, right? Yeah, I have raised money and have donated directly to Ukrainians, but you don't give a fuck about that. You literally fucking avoided that point because that point completely undercuts everything that you're trying to present here. Dude, you don't really make videos or promote anything that's happening anymore. Yes, I do. I literally covered the Ukrainian hospital getting blown up. It's okay though. I get it. It's not as big as a story anymore. Oh my God. I literally covered it when it happened. What the fuck are you talking about? I've brought it up multiple times, even during the conversation that we were having yesterday when I was like, Russia literally blew up a children's hospital 2 days ago. You're wrong. It was 62. Macron put it to 64. NFP wants to lower it to 60. So more debt? Yes, dude. More debt. I hate this fucking argument. You are not the central bank of France. What the fuck are you arguing about? Right now, you are personally saying, I want to be able to work until I'm 64, fuck it, until I'm 70. Even an animal in the wild has this kind of natural instinct of self-preservation. Whereas humans, for some weird fucking reason, do the exact opposite and think it is like actually brilliant. That's insane. You don't own Carrefour. You're not Mr. Carrefour, okay? You're Mr. Poor. You're not Mr. Carrefour. Well, what if the wealthy shelter their asses? What if they take the asses away? It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Then fucking jail them. What do you mean? As a poor person, if you don't fucking pay your taxes, you go to jail. So why is it that when a rich person does it, it's like, well, you know, they wrote the rules that way. Write new rules. Grown men with tears in their eyes. They're so sad for my pappy. Shut up. Wow, toxic masculinity much? Oh, 100%. Bro, you literally did this for Nancy Pelosi. You do this anytime anything happens. You are the biggest bitch. You posted a photo of underwear and hammers and be like, I'm doing my Paul Pelosi cosplay. Like, you can't be on Fox News crying and be like, I can't believe the Democrats have gotten so out of control. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. I see you have no arguments. Did you just not hear the argument that I made? Are you too stupid to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Are you an alien? God, I love hogs. I am an illegal alien, and I love voting for the Democrats. I love getting all of my other illegal alien friends to go out and vote for the Democratic Party. Hell yeah, baby. You are from Mars? Okay, this guy's stupid. When enough dumbasses believe a thing, everyone else has to sit there and be like, oh, well, maybe there's some truth to what he's saying. I don't know. And most people are not well equipped to have this conversation because they don't know the truth. So if the other side is convincing and emotional and angry, then you start believing him. As he's emotionally crying about something he wouldn't debate against someone about. Brother, I have debated professional conservatives when you were in your diapers, okay? I'm older than you, homie. I apologize because your brain is so goddamn stunted that I, at least in the gentlest ways possible, tried to assume that you were 14 years old because you're behaving like a child and it's everybody else's problem. I used to even debate dumbasses like you in this chat. I would pull them up in Discord and we'd have this conversation. You wouldn't have the balls? Okay, brother. This happened for years until I decided it's probably best not to have these fucking dummies on. Unless you want to come on right now. Yeah, he left after I said, come on, I'll debate you. I'm still listening to you pick and choose what you want to read, lol, and have your cult talk shit to me. Oh, are you a victim now? Vibe fresh. I said I will extend you an offer. If you want to come debate me on the issue of immigration, we can do that. I'm a conservative. I get to say whatever the fuck I want. And if you respond to me with the same energy that I put out there, then you're wrong. Why would you do that to me? What? Conservatives turn into words or violence geeks at a moment of friction. It only takes like 3.5 seconds of friction for a conservative to be like, words or violence. Why are you doing this to me? I think it's awesome that the Republicans who regularly talk about putting entire segments of the population into concentration camps are doing words or violence rhetoric at the Democrats for saying stuff like orange mango Hitler. What segments of the population are they saying they'll put in concentration camps? Undocumented migrants. How do you think you process the mass deportation of 10+ million people? How do you do that? Go ahead. I would imagine you would use whatever apparatus is already set up. Yes. Okay. Work through it step by step. The apparatus that currently exists is immigration processing centers, detention facilities, aka concentration camps, where you concentrate certain sects of the population. You're not going to be able to process them expediently one by one, so you have to do mass processing, which means you're going to have 200 people, 300 people in one room with one judge deciding, yeah, you're all guilty of the crime of not having sufficient paperwork. Then you would have to put them inside of facilities, inside of detention centers. But unfortunately, the current facilities are already overflowing. So you'd have to build new facilities, possibly with, less amenities, even though the current existing facilities are dog shit to begin with. You have at this point thrown out all matter of human rights. Why and how will you be able to do this? Because you've dehumanized these people anyway through your rhetoric. Oh, okay. I didn't know you considered immigration facilities concentration camps. What do you think an immigration facility looks like? What do you think a concentration camp looks like? The name doesn't matter. You can call it immigration overflow centers if you want. Lol, chat is wild, telling me to delete and such. Let me ask you a separate question. If you think words are hurtful and they can hurt your feelings because some people told you to delete yourself for the, defense that you're running for overwhelming fascist rhetoric, don't you think that it's a little bit more damaging if someone who is running for president is saying infinitely worse about 10 million plus people that are living in this country right now? You are demonstrating zero empathy for tens of millions of people while simultaneously demanding that people give you empathy because you saw something that hurts your feelings. You have no argument. You have no answer for anything that I just presented. So now you're just resorting to the aesthetics. If you were Trump, how do you counter this? Get shot in the other ear? No, you just keep saying Kamala Harris recognizes that the border is a problem. Why didn't she do anything for the 4 years that she was the border czar? There you go. She wasn't the border czar. Oh my God. Liberal media so perfectly has the capacity to make liberals hallucinate things. She literally was. She went to Guatemala to tell Guatemalans to not come to the United States of America because Brandon was putting her on duty. Biden tasked Harris with stemming the migration on southern border. March 24th, 2021. But she wasn't the border czar. What do you guys think the border czar means? It means a person appointed to work on the border. It's not like an official sanctioned position. We are not in a emirate. Czar isn't a real title. Why are you using right-wing language? No, I'm not using right-wing language. I'm using what was colloquially utilized early on by everyone in media and popular usage refer to high-level executive branch officials who oversee particular policy field. There has never been a U.S. government office with the formal title czar. It's like saying Bernie was never known as the amendment king because we don't have kings in this country. Yeah, it must be Russian disinformation. The point of contention here isn't what Kamala Harris is called. The point of contention is what Kamala Harris's task was. This will be used against her. Hasan finally realizing how stupid his chat actually is. Yeah, as opposed to what right-wing chatters. Shut the hell up. It's fine if big chunk of my community disagrees with me on this. My job is to explain things, okay? Did you just horseshoe theory liberals and conservatives? I don't like how you try to pit working class against those that enlist in the military. What? Do you know how many fucking veterans are in this goddamn chat? You dumb fuck. The people that have the most smoke for veterans are people who were in the military. Your attitude is exactly the shitty thing that like veterans can look forward to, okay? 4 years of your life on pause, you come back broken. Government lies to you, doesn't fix you. But hey, at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays, you can get $5 off on jalapeno poppers. No, man, don't enlist in the fucking military. Are you kidding me? This take is so dumb. Is it? You must defend the country from enemies, both domestic and foreign, by going and like propping up pedophile warlords in Afghanistan and killing a bunch of 14-year-olds in a village with air support because they were a threat to American free speech. The greatest threat to America domestically is the Republican Party. The second greatest threat is the Democratic Party. It's not horseshoe theory, by the way. This is just capitalism. Unrelenting death, violence, chaos, destruction, so that you can improve the bottom line of like 8 companies, dude. Why are a bunch of people asking me about Erewhon? Am I getting like Discord rated or something? There's a big community of people boycotting it right now and they're really annoying. Bro, what do you mean? Boycotting Erewhon? That's just called making less than $350,000 a year. And as someone who makes more, I also tend to boycott Erewhon because why the fuck would I go there? It's the same exact shit that you can get anywhere else, just upmarked. Oh man, yeah, I'm boycotting mega yachts. I need you guys to understand something. I'm bravely and boldly boycotting mega yachts. Brave, thank you. Thank you for recognizing my bravery in this statement. I hope all Americans can come together. All Americans, especially those who are coming from a working class background, can come together and join me in boycotting Erewhon. Erewhon sells plastic bags for $80? Shut the fuck up. If you're broke, just say so. I just don't understand who that's for. I was wondering if we could make plastic bags more expensive. Is that where you got the fancy Dr. Pepper? You think Erewhon sells Dr. Pepper? Erewhon sells PhD Pepper, okay? They sell their own version and is upmarked to oblivion. Thoughts on California advances zero down, no payment home loans for undocumented immigrants? Who pays for that? Wait, what? Program was initially created to help low and middle income individuals buy homes. The program doesn't address eligibility based on immigrant status. Dude, for the normal American home buyer, it's no easy anymore. What are you talking about? This is literally something that already exists. And what is being held up, the question here is that maybe the eligibility also factors in undocumented migrants too. Check more recent news on it. This is 3 days ago, man. I mean, dude, it's hard as fuck for Americans. You want to know why it's hard as fuck for Americans? Because dumbass Americans like you think that it's the fucking undocumented migrants that's robbing you blind. It is the real estate developers. It is the fucking landlords. It's our politicians backed by corporate interests that are robbing you blind. There is nothing different about an undocumented migrant than you, other than the fact that his spawn point was worse than yours. I'm a property owner in a corporate world. In the corporate world? What do you mean? Because I bust my ass, I have to pay more? Dude, you are not busting your ass. You might have busted your ass to go and get the apartment buildings originally, but ultimately you got lucky. Lucky, yes, you got lucky. You know who else got lucky? Me, motherfucker, me. We are lucky. Every rich person got lucky at a certain point. This is the number one thing that rich people lie about. They lie to themselves and they lie to others about this. You worked hard and you sacrificed, but you got lucky at the end of the day. You think teacher in Oklahoma isn't working hard? You think the person working at McDonald's and then doing an Uber on the side isn't working hard? They are. You just are luckier than they are. That's it. You're hating so hard on Adin. Why not Celebration Rumors collabing with politics? It's a win and you're hating. I legitimately think Adin Ross's audience might be the stupidest motherfuckers on the planet. Bro, I'm a political commentator. You don't agree, so you label and degrade. We get it. No, you don't get anything. I'm gonna be honest with you. You barely get how you breathe oxygen, okay? I suspect you sometimes even forget that. The interaction between Donald Trump and Adin Ross as a standalone for meta commentary is unique and interesting in and of itself. Perhaps more unique and interesting than the actual talking points that Donald Trump demonstrates. But it's my job to look at this and offer commentary on the message that Donald Trump is trying to actively put forward to a young audience. I hope I can genuinely educate you on this matter a little bit. It's intellectually dishonest to just hate on anything and anyone who doesn't agree with you, though. You do commentate sometimes, but mostly hate. Yeah, you're just upset and offended. But, you know, if you were to maybe listen to what I'm saying, then you'll understand why I'm saying those things. Like, I'm not simply sitting around and being like, Donald Trump is so ugly. I, for one, think he's hot, for the record. I'm explaining what a former president is most likely thinking and feeling, that he thought that this would be a good media op for him. You quiet delusional on a lot of other subjects too. Okay, hit me with what I'm delusional about. You have been with Sleepy Joe? Huh? Bro, if you think I'm pro Sleepy Joe Brandon, I don't think I'm the delusional party here. Unless you think I f***ed him, in which case, yeah, I mean, I didn't know it was going to come out like that. You think there was nothing wrong with Joe 2 years ago? April 14, 2020. One truly wild thing that we haven't really talked about is Biden's stated interest in being a single-term president. Like, we're just going to throw away our incumbent advantage because Joe's going to be a vegetable by the end of his presidency. Truly incredible stuff. I don't know if you know math. That's 2 years before you falsely claimed that I didn't think anything was wrong with Joe Biden. I think you are wrong, mate, but how you act on your stream says enough. Wait, what? Bro, I just showed you that you were wrong, that I've been incredibly critical of Joe Biden forever ago. It's funny that a lot of people that just simply are primed into hating another person are primed due to like false notions of that person, and when they're met with the reality, they still are like, yeah, instead of like changing my opinion about you and maybe even like thinking critically about the places that have like led me astray, I'm a and go ahead and continue hating. You shouldn't feel embarrassed that you were wrong, chatter. A lot of us are wrong many times throughout our lives. The best thing to do in that situation is not to like double down. The best thing is to just think for yourself. Be an independent thinker. You're not going to agree with everything I say, but just be open-minded. That's all I ask. Prosecutor was going to investigate Burisma. Brandon withheld $1 billion to Poroshenko unless he dropped that prosecutor. You don't have the facts on this case. Stop defending the Biden crime syndicate. You are literally stupid. No, the prosecutor was not investigating Burisma. The prosecutor was withholding his investigation on Burisma. The UN was trying to drop the prosecutor. Republicans in Congress were writing letters. Why do you think they were doing that? Do you think Hunter Biden was able to convince all of them? Do you think he just showed his dick and everyone was under his spell? Joe protected Hunter. He did so with a laptop too. Oh my God. Do not move on from the original point of contention. Answer my question. No, Hunter did not have that much influence, but Brandon did. Ukraine was and is a bipartisan project. So you think Joseph Robinette Brandon went to Republicans and said, hey, can you write a letter to me? Yes, he asked 50 directors or whatever the security community to write a letter to the laptop. No, we're not talking about the laptop. Can you cover the Republicans being piss babies over Wallace's taco comments? Oh, yeah. It's my favorite genre of weirdos. When they become like SJWs, but for like white people. These motherfuckers be like, comedy is now illegal because I can't say the N-word. In the same breath, will be like, how dare you disrespect white people?
White guy tacos and
what is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know?
It is literally the most inoffensive thing you can say about white people. It's literally about as spicy as black pepper. Crazy that a presidential candidate can just casually let out some blatant anti-white racism and nobody cares. Imagine if Donald Trump said a black guy taco was made with fried chicken and watermelon and nuclear meltdown. Oh my God. He's not wrong. Stop being such a echo chamber to your shit. Kisses to you, chatter. Thank you. I am the echo chambered one, not you. Someone has to speak up. I don't agree to everything, but it's so that everyone hates everything. Someone's got to defend white people, man. What means to be white is expanded throughout time. Okay, it just means the in-group with proximity to actual power. If you want to know more, watch my YouTube video where I say white people do not exist. Chalk this up for another reverse 2016. This is another one of those reverse identity politics. CNN, it was a mostly peaceful assassination. We need to stop misinformation laws. Both sides do it. Bro's a Facebook main. That's a hog doing the mostly peaceful protest meme about BLM because it was. 98% of Black Lives Matter protests that happened were mostly peaceful. You've already beamed this kind of misinformation into your mind so much that you can't even think about it critically at all. Okay, 95 isn't true, Lamau. No, it is true. There were studies conducted on it. That was where the coverage was coming from. It's the same narrative with the crime panic. You see these emotional, impactful images play over and over again in repeat, and it warps your perception. I live in Los Angeles, and I would tell people all the time, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no, there is no massive increase in violent crime occurring in Los Angeles. Jank was telling you, Lol, I know. And that's what's so crazy about it. Because if you remember the conversation that I had with Jank, I kept giving him empirical data and he kept resorting to an emotional moment that he had. Didn't you say your friend's car got stolen recently? Of course. In Japan, when there's more public transit, for example, Grand Theft Auto doesn't happen with higher frequency, but they steal bikes all the fucking time. The entire point of this is not to deny that crime ever exists. The point that I'm making is you can't look at just individual acts of crime and go, I'm inferring that crime is actually out of control. Let's look at the broader picture. Is there more crime happening right now than the year prior? Crime has historically been on a fucking downward trend for decades. Okay? For decades. Portland's murder rate increased 450% during COVID. There's also snapshots. People also love cherry picking data. It only went from 37 in 2019 to 57 murders in Portland. What is he talking about? I don't know. He probably saw some stat and it broke his brain because it corresponds to their personal biases, because every single person in the media, from local news all the way to network television, kept repeating this. They also don't prosecute for theft under 2K. This is another one of my favorite idiotic takes. You know where else they don't actually do that? Texas, dude. There's places all around the country, and that they don't prosecute theft under 2K rule has been around since like 2007. So you're delusional if you think that this is a new thing that happened. Actual reason as to why people misanalyze the increase of crime is because poverty has increased, specifically due to housing becoming less and less affordable in big cities. That has created a larger number of homeless people. When poverty becomes more visible, people immediately assume like, oh, crime is just out of control. It's all over the place. And that's where it comes from. Ridiculous women would vote for a man to beat them up in sports. When will this end? When a lady dies in the ring? Sticks up for women's rights, watches women get beat to death in a boxing ring. Dude, what kind of pussy ass shit is this? The f do you mean? If you're watching women's boxing and you see one woman beat another woman and claim that the other person was beating her to death and also secretly a man, you're just a bitch. You are too sensitive for this world. Go cry. I'm subhuman because I don't want to see biological men beat up women. No, you're subhuman because you are literally hallucinating a reality. A cis woman is beating the shit out of another cis woman, and you have decided that that person actually is a man, and you're running along with that. Law, you guys are freaking clowns. I said trans should not be beating up women. Shut your bitch ass up, bro. That was not a trans woman, okay? And you're over here being like, oh, I don't like it. I'd knock all you pussies out. No, you wouldn't. You're a fucking internet warrior who literally is scared. Mike the Killer 316. Call him motherfuckers a bunch of soy boys online. He's so goddamn scared that he saw a brolic woman for once and immediately went, that's a trans woman. That's a man. It's so gross. Because at the end of the day, a lot of this is just basically being like, I have in my mind a specific way that women should look. If this woman doesn't look the way that I want women to look, then she's not a real woman. That's all you're doing. It's like hyper misogynistic in many respects.
Driver's license, registration.
Here you go, sir. How's your day going?
That's your daughter?
Sure is.
Abigail, right?
How do you know her?
Were you about 8 weeks pregnant? So you've been spotting recently. You've had any cramps or nausea?
That's personal.
You been taking your prenatal vitamins?
Excuse me?
Are you ticketing me for something?
Where are you heading, Abigail?
To go see my older sister, Natalie.
Well, that's strange. This says here that Natalie's at a concert in Dallas. And your navigation is set to a women's health clinic in one of those abortion states.
We have the right to travel.
Not anymore.
I can't believe I'm saying this is one of the first times where I've seen a Lincoln Project ad and I'm like, that's a banger, 10-10. That's a fucking stretch, man. Wait, what? Could a cop actually know if you're traveling out of state to get an abortion? Oh my God. Yes, dude. The point is they stop you for a busted taillight, see that you are traveling out of state, and then they can literally investigate under suspicion that you are traveling out of state to get an abortion, which is illegal. And yes, they do have period tracker apps, for example, that they subpoena. That's how you know this community is so male-oriented, dude. Holy shit. There is not a single woman under the age of 35 that isn't totally clued in on this shit. That is why there's such a massive gap between Gen Z women and Gen Z men. Hasan, are you dumb? If Muslim countries won't ban transgenders, who would ban them? Are you even a Muslim to talk about something religion related? Yes, I am. I grew up in a Muslim country. And secondly, the fuck are you talking about? You don't even know your own goddamn religion if you're talking about this shit. Iran literally has gender confirmation surgery, sometimes by force if someone is caught being gay. In Egypt, you can literally get gender transition surgery approved by Al-Azhar. Absolutely wrong. Transgenders existed during Muhammad's life. They literally lived in his house. They had an important social role in early Islam in the Abbasid era. Yeah, it's just, one, Islam is not a monolith. Two, if you are to look at like Muslim countries, by and large, they're fairly more tolerant than even their Christian counterparts. Trans rights have gotten worse in countries like Turkey, but it's relatively new culture war phenomena. It's not actually like a historical thing. Islam absolutely prohibits transgenderism. Referring to Iran basically excommunicated by 90% of Muslims doesn't make sense. HasanAbi. I just gave you examples that are not just Iran. The Caliphate decriminalized homosexuality in the 18th century. If we're not going to talk about Iran and you're like, oh, Iran is some other shit, let's talk about the Islamic Caliphate in the Ottoman Empire. You talking about people not Islam? Shut up. I just said the Caliphate. You mean I'm talking about people, not Islam? You're wrong about Islam. Also, what's a caliphate? Exactly. People that do not know anything about anything are just like chirping off of like things that they read on Reddit. Bro, she's Muslim. Of course she's pro-life. Everyone I know is pro-life. Dude, what kind of Iraqi are you? Islam is severely less restricted on abortion than Christianity is, or modern Christianity in the United States of America is. Less restrictive, but still promotes pro-life. I grew up in Iraq, brother. Okay, I grew up in Turkey, where the federally funded public health system offers abortions to people. You don't really qualify to be a Muslim. You're just Muslim because you're born Muslim. You don't practice. Muslims are usually pro-life. No, that is... God, stop. My faith is not the issue here. What you're saying is objectively incorrect. It's declared haram? No, it's not. A majority of scholars during the medieval age viewed 120 days after conception as a crucial dividing line in the development of the fetus. The time when the fetus became ensouled, becomes a living soul, and thus a live human being. Abortion before this point was permissible according to Islamic law scholar Abel Awad. Most Muslim countries literally have legal, accessible abortions, especially if there is harm to the mother's life, which means that most Muslim countries on the planet, including Iran, have less restrictions on abortion than like a red state currently. And it's pretty funny when dumbass Americans will literally turn around and be like, what are we, a bunch of Sharia law lovers? And it's like, bro, you don't know anything. The very same Republican legislators will turn around and be like, all trans people are pedophiles. We got to stop them from grooming our children. If you see a trans person, that's automatic pedophile. And then they literally will go to Congress in their own states, in the state legislature, and defend child brides, bro. Please find me one example of that, Lamau. Okay. State Representative Jess Edwards inspired outrage last week after describing underage teenage girls as ripe and fertile while arguing against the bill to raise the age of marriage in the Granite State from 16 to 18. GOP lawmakers hell-bent on preserving child marriage. Ralph Shorty, former Trump Oklahoma campaign chair, literally got busted with a 17-year-old. But listen, he did it within a proximity of, I believe, a school or a church. He had formerly passed legislation in his own state that actually brought up the charges. He passed the law and he got hit with his own law that he passed. Come on, man. The Republicans literally ran a file who lost them the state of Alabama Senate seat. That happened under Donald Trump. There was a literal file by the name of Roy Moore. He was banned from going to his local mall by the police because he kept trying to teenagers. Hasan, stop projecting. You got nothing, big dog. All you got is you're projecting. Yeah, sorry. Okay, sucks to suck. I didn't even start this conversation. That one dumb in the chat did. Why boys need tampons? Tampons in the boys' bathroom is so stupid. As far as I understand, it's not even a thing. It's for unisex bathrooms. But who the cares? If the boys' restroom had a tampon too, why do you care? Are you actually mad? Or is it more of like a haha tampon in men's room type situation that you're trying to turn into a real campaign strategy? Even if it was, I've never seen people get mad about condoms in girls' bathrooms. Maybe a new dude needs a tampon for a friend or a girlfriend, or maybe he's a trans man who gives a fuck. Exactly. All you care about is like bullying a group of people that are literally 1% of the population. They ain't hurting nobody. They ain't doing nothing. You're just a delusional, weak, perverted loser who just wants to cry and complain about a group of people who can't fight back. You know, your bosses are you over every goddamn day. You know that the rich are going to keep getting richer. You know that they're not going to pay taxes. You know that nothing you say and do will stop the flow of weapons to Israel that are going to murder babies. If you literally turned around and made it illegal to be trans in this country, your life would not even remotely change. The same shit would continue happening. You're an idiot and you're angry, and there are justifiable reasons for you to be angry, but God forbid you actually channel that anger towards something productive. You are rich though. What the difference does it make? This is not an argument. Am I your boss? Am I your manager? Or am I some dumb random Twitch streamer that is more accessible than those actual people who are you over? Billionaire piece of shit who's laughing with another billionaire piece of shit about like how unproductive the Guatemalan migrant is, or how you should fire any striking worker. Like, those guys are the real people in positions of power, and then you don't get mad at those guys, you get mad at me. There are some gender neutral restrooms in Portland and we love it. Dude, every bathroom in your house is a gender neutral bathroom. Every bathroom inside of an airplane is a gender neutral bathroom. Ronald Reagan's grave is a gender neutral bathroom. There are gender neutral bathrooms all around at all times. The idea that this is a new phenomena, it's so fucking stupid. The fact that we're having this conversation as though it's like a new thing and it's very scary shows how far right-wing discourse goes. Don't let Republicans dominate this weirdo narrative, dude. You need your shit. The men's room is broken. What are you gonna do? Not shit? That's a gender-neutral bathroom now, dog. Sorry. It's funny how Jewish people aren't a monolith, but you consider Republicans to be. Do you know what you just said? Yes, Jewish people are not a monolith in their voting patterns. 100% of Republican voters are going to vote Republican. If they don't vote Republican, they're no longer Republican. Unless you think being a Republican is somehow like a specific ethnic categorization. It's funny how easy it is for you to condemn this, but not the actual Nazi protests that happen in Australia and other countries just because they're also waving a Palestinian flag. Wait, what? The pro-Palestinian protests that happen aren't Nazi protests that happen. They're anti-genocide protests. I agree with anti-genocide as a sentiment. You should too. People like Tommy Robinson of the EDL, whose followers are currently doing these anti-Islam pogroms, are literally backed by Zionist groups. There's a photo of him wearing a goddamn Israeli Defense Force shirt. Is it shocking to you? One is an anti-genocide protest. The other is a pro-genocide protest. Yeah, there are people in the hotel. They want to. The real reason why they're doing it is because they want to kill people in the hotel. I don't know how else to describe it. You got to admit, expressing verbal support for Hamas kind of dumb on the protest part. No, I don't give a shit. No, I'm not having this conversation. I don't care. This is exactly what they did with the fucking Vietnam War. Student protesters, a lot of activists were saying unconditional support to the Viet Cong, and the coverage was exactly the same. Did that take away from the morality of the argument at all? Hamas, as it stands currently, is in a significantly better moral position than the Israeli occupying forces. That's it. They are not great in terms of domestic affairs. They're far from my favorite group that could potentially rule over the Palestinians, but that's not the equation right now. The equation is that there's a fucking genocide going on, okay? It's just, it's a bad look, Sweaty. How are you supposed to build a bridge with Israelis if you support Hamas? How are you supposed to build a bridge with Israelis if you support the PLO? How are you supposed to build a bridge with the Israelis if you support Palestinians? How are you supposed to build a bridge with the Israelis if you support the UNRWA, which was also declared a terrorist organization? What you should be asking is, how are the Israelis supposed to build a bridge with the people that they're murdering? Chat saying base to these people is ironic. This guy is so anti-women rights, anti-gay rights, anti-everything y'all stand for. Also, as an Iranian, the glorification of the Iranian regime in this chat is crazy. Brother, I don't think you understand. I don't give a about what a person's personal convictions are when they are at the precipice of slaughter. Like, it's ridiculous. Bombs that drop in Gaza do not avoid gay Palestinians, do not avoid women in Palestine. They kill all. You understand? People that are predisposed with survival from a genocidal entity are going to be hyper-focusing on survival instead of gay liberation at that moment. It's ironic that you are from the Iranian diaspora and don't recognize the hardening positions in your country, in your home nation, as a direct consequence of an incredibly violent coup that took place with Western influence, which then led to a incredibly fundamentalist retaliation against that. This has happened historically everywhere that America has meddled in the affairs of. Why are people mad at Israel for being brutally attacked on October 7? Israel has democratic elections, rights, and citizenship for everyone who isn't a terrorist. Yet Hamas in Iran hangs gays and burns women alive who don't cover their hair. Israel is an apartheid state. It's illegal by international standards. Israel also is not the wonderful democratic nation that you presented as such. You might have been deluded into thinking that. They quite literally had protests. Someone from Benjamin Netanyahu's own party, Likud, came out and openly stated that, yes, of course Israelis have a right to Palestinians.
להכניס מקל לרקטום של בן אדם זה לגיטימי?
כן, אם הוא נוח'בה הכל לגיטימי לעשות לו.
אוקיי,
הכל. הכל.
The most far-right psychopaths in Israeli society stormed both the Sdei Taman facility and stormed the military detention. They actually released one of the major rapists. You might not have, once again, heard about it because seemingly the American media did not write about this at all, which is very odd. Venom Card Collector says Hamas would do the same thing to Israel if they had the upper hand. Yeah, that's a wonderful fantasy that dominant forces always have. White supremacists also thought that this would happen to them if they were to free the slaves. South African apartheid defenders and enjoyers also said the same thing as well. So did the Nazis. It's not a real argument. At most, it's like a really shitty way to defend your barbaric actions. Genuine question, like no harm meant by this. I'm genuinely wondering what you think. Where do you think if Israel as a state is abolished and if Palestinian state is fully established as it should be, Israeli citizens will be asked to go? I think this is a concern a lot of people have about a state solution. I'm curious what you think. No, don't get mad at this person saying genuinely curious. I believe that they are genuinely curious. Israel as it stands is one state. It's simply an apartheid state. I advocate to abolish said apartheid. As a matter of fact, the Israeli settlements have made it impossible not to advocate for a one-state solution. My solution is having a goal where Palestinians, Israelis, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter, live side by side with equal rights and equal representation. Some Palestinians might not be in favor of this. Many Israelis are certainly not in favor of this, but ultimately that is the right thing to do. And that is, in my opinion, the only way to create permanent security for everyone living in that region. Because the alternative in a two-state solution for 1967 borders would imply the expulsion of 750,000 Jews from the West Bank. Children, men, women. That, in and of itself, is also going to be a very violent process. Caprice on Poppy, who is Palestinian, says, we can't do to them what they did to us. It would be extremely cruel. Are you as invested in other conflicts and suffering as you are in this? Yes, I am. You immediately only bring this up cynically after saying, why not release the hostages and watch as Israel will still keep up their invade, and now they no longer have an excuse for what they're doing. You literally looked at this and you said, aren't you worried about other conflicts too? Like, hey, how about you look away from this? How about you look away from this that is happening with your weapons, with your taxpayer dollars, and then so obviously went and turned around and acted like you actually think that Israel needs excuses to behave this way. Oh, it won't have any excuses. Will you support a ceasefire if Palestinians release all the hostages? No, you won't. So shut the fuck up. You'll turn the other cheek. There were probably Israeli civilians that were held hostage in some of these buildings. Israel blew them up regardless. Israel killed those hostages. Once again, showcasing that it doesn't give a fuck about the civilian casualties. So far, Israel is responsible for more of the hostages dying than Hamas is killed. That's disingenuous. Nothing I said is disingenuous. Everything I said is 100% correct. They are captured? Exactly. They are captured. That doesn't change the calculation that I just brought forward. Israel has absolutely killed more of the Israeli hostages than they have saved. If they weren't captured, would they be dead? You do realize that this exact same principle stands for all of the Palestinians. There are thousands of Palestinians under permanent detention, both from the West Bank and also in the Gaza Strip as well. Right now, in Israeli prisons, they're being worked to death by Israeli prison guards. Israel used Palestinians to send them down into tunnel systems and whatnot, dressed up in IDF gear. I'm for freeing Palestinians, but I don't agree with the point that Israel killed Israelis captured by Hamas. You don't have to agree with that point. That is the truth. When Israel bombs entire city blocks, they are doing that knowing full well that there's a likelihood that there are literally Israelis in those city blocks. Israel literally shot Israeli hostages that were waving a white flag. They shot them point blank. They chased one into a building and killed them. Likely a majority of hostages that have been killed were killed in IDF airstrikes or lack of medical supplies, etc. I doubt Hamas would have executed dozens of what it sees as bargaining chips. Exactly. And if they were to execute them, they would do it on camera. Trump is 1000% worse on Israel policy. This is essentially a meaningless debate. Trump is not president right now, and genocide is pretty much the maximum bad thing you can do. You want to say you really care about Palestinians, but simultaneously, you also want to vote for the Democratic Party who's killing Palestinians. So it's just like a moral permission that you want to give yourself and have everyone celebrate you for it, you know? Like, oh, dude, Trump would be worse. Yeah, dude, I know, I agree. But it's not Trump doing it right now. You know that, right? Who's more willing to listen? Dude, that's so funny. You dumb do you not understand? You're making the argument for me. You're saying Democrats are more willing to listen. Who gives a if it's going to fall on deaf ears? And you're quite literally currently saying this argument is stupid. Don't have it. I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to listen to this argument. Yes, I know I was duking it out with a chatter named Huge Anus. Okay, I know. It doesn't matter. Huge Anus represents a talking point that many people hold. Okay, especially when they're libbed the f*** up. going to the DNC actually kind of like opened my eyes to a lot of things. For one, the fact that they like, after all of this pressure, they were like, nah, we're not going to let any Palestinians speak. Get the fuck out of here. It's so racist. It's so fucking gross. It's so disgusting. That's just straight white supremacist ass bullshit. It doesn't matter if the candidate is black, it's still white supremacy through and through. The Democratic Party said tonight, we got billionaires. We're going to bring them on. We got former Trump Republicans. We're going to bring them onto the center stage. We got Pizzagate cops and shit out there, but you don't got a moment for Palestinian Americans. White supremacy. Come on, dude. That's a stretch. Listen up, big dog. I used a different terminology there for your stupid ass brain to handle. So your dumb mouth breathing ass can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. It's called American jingoism. Okay, it's Western chauvinism. Do you understand what the Democratic Party there is doing? If you're a goddamn Palestinian, here are all the other people that are more important for us than you. You're a lifelong Democrat. You spent your whole goddamn life fighting for the Democratic Party, and they say, fuck you. You're Palestinian. We don't want to hear from you. Explain the racism better than just saying everything is racist. Whew. Oh, buddy, where do I begin? Okay. The American criminal justice system disproportionately targets black people. The American financial system has historically also underserved black communities. Segregation in the South, redlining in the North, and everywhere else. And this has led to black people having worse outcomes overall on healthcare, education, job opportunities. I'm just saying, last night you blamed white supremacy for the No Palestine speaker. Yeah, that is a different form of white excellence, white supremacy, America's hegemonic superpower status that comes from destroying the global South, which is comprised predominantly of non-white people. That is also still white supremacy. This is foreign policy, though. We're talking about domestic policy, which is like similar to foreign policy in that regard. You can see black communities as like internal colonies. It's in every part of the system. When Biden first dropped, you were so team coconut. Can I ask why you switched so hard? I don't like that people personally just imagine what my point of view is, and then they just like run off of that in an accusatory tone. I only said Kamala Harris would be far better than Joseph Robinette Brandon. I was right. I was excited at a change of attitude from the Democratic Party that I had never seen before. That guy from chat is 100% right. Bro, you were super live for weeks. You just changed your mind recently. No shame in that. I think a lot of you don't understand when I am exaggerating or also being an entertainer. I myself have a little bit of that A-worded dog in me, and I sometimes don't pick up on certain things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it would be really weird if I turned around and said /S every time I made a statement. I also find it very odd that people are like, nah, dog, I know where you were at better than you. I maintained cautious optimism. That's precisely the reason why even up until the DNC, when people would ask me like, oh, so are you, endorsing Kamala Harris? I said, I'm not doing that. I'm waiting and seeing.
What do you think Harris Bowles is going to get done?
What do I think they're going to get done? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We're going to find out, hopefully, at the DNC. Kamala won't magically win this election. Everyone must do what they can, especially if you have an audience. Brother, I don't think you understand this. Politicians need to earn your votes. That is what the democratic process is about. If you want me or my community to go out and do door knocking and vociferously defend Kamala Harris, then you need to understand that she needs to give the progressive side something that they can stick to. This is a nice narrative, but Trump is literally on the other side. I know. That's not how this works, though. People constantly engage in this silly harm reduction argument when that didn't work in 2016. No politician is owed your support. They are not entitled to your support. They must earn it. This is the fundamental principle of democracy. Do you think she will pivot her message away from the center in a meaningful way in the near future? Are we cucked to a Joe Biden reskin? No, you are cucked to a Joe Biden reskin. Why'd you act like it mattered who she picked for VP if you were going to be so uncharitable regardless of picking your preferred candidate? Are you stupid? Why are you talking like you're Kamala Harris's best friend or some shit? It's just pure team sports for you, huh? Like you don't really care. You don't have any expectations. Like you have no policies that you want. You have no demands from your elected representative. Not saying she's good on everything. What is she good on then in this interview? The right-wing border bill? Is that what you want? Why don't you go vote for the Republicans then? Is it because you're pro-fracking? Once again, Republicans better on fracking. Drill, baby, drill. Or is it a Republican cabinet member that you wanted? Well, if you get a Republican in office, every cabinet member will be a Republican. What is the good economics that she's advocating for? Expanding the child tax credits? Fine. That's good. You're right. If JD Vance came out and was like, I'm going to expand the child tax credits by $8,000, you would vote for the Republicans then. How is this any different than any right-wing party in Europe? Oh, we're pro-trans. That's it. Okay, got it. Well, wait for the next election cycle until they drop trans from the agenda as well. They just negotiate how much further right they're going to go every 4 years. Like, what are you talking about? But hey, the media will favor this and they will give her flowers because she went right-wing enough.